For the last 9 years, Hồng Hoa, a 23-year-old girl in Hoa Bắc, has struggled with chronic kidney failure. Hoa has 3 siblings that are still going to school. As the oldest child, she could have found a job to help her family at this age, but for now she can only stay around the sick bed.
Đau quá nghỉ học luôn, không làm được chứ. Còn ngài còn yếu, biến chứng và nhiều bệnh. Hai người rất mệt.
Em nó học giỏi lắm. Hồi trước là học giỏi lắm nhưng mà nó bị đau rồi nó không học được. Nhưng sau này theo như chị nghĩ nếu mà nó không bệnh hoạn thì có lẽ là cuộc sống nó khó hơn. Rồi bây giờ nó đau rồi nó không học được. Cuộc sống mà nó phụ thuộc vào ba mẹ.
Having heard about Hoa's circumstances, My Vision decided to give her a monthly support of 3 million Vietnamese dong. Angelo and his volunteers also pay regular visits to provide the family with encouragement. Hoa's family has no land for farming, so her parents have to work as hired labor, doing seasonal jobs and earning no more than 200,000 Vietnamese dong per day. Three times a week, Hoa has to go to the hospital in Da Nang Center for dialysis. Fortunately, most treatment expenses are covered by health insurance. But spending on traveling, food and medicines is still a big burden for her family.
Angelo cũng có hỏi là không biết là mình có cái cách nào đó mà mình có thể điều trị dứt điểm luôn cho em không. Nhưng mà thực sự là cái tình trạng của em là em bị đã quá nặng rồi. Thì những gì mà mình có thể làm bây giờ thì mình hỗ trợ ngoài cái phần đó là một phần thôi. Nhưng mà mình thấy được là cái tinh thần của em á, là có thay đổi rất là nhiều. Là em vui vẻ hơn. Thế là lần đầu tiên mà mình gặp em á, là em rất là gọi là buồn và em ít chia sẻ. Nhưng mà bây giờ á, là em hoạt bát nói chuyện hơn.
Currently, 3 people with life-threatening diseases and adverse circumstances in Hoa Bắc Commune are being supported by My Vision.
So, Angelo, seeing so many sad stories like that, how did that change your mind or your perspective?
You know, at the beginning when I was meeting these cases, I always had 2 feelings in my heart. The first feeling was really compassion, so feeling like, what can I do for this kid? I have to do something for this kid. I will do something for this kid. The second feeling, now I don't have this feeling anymore, but the second feeling was anger, because I was really angry about why nobody cares about these children. Now I don't have this feeling of anger anymore, because I understand that people, if they are not aware or if they don't have this sensitiveness, there is nothing we can do. But at the same time, I also became stronger and more determined in helping them. I'm always saying, until I have energies, until I have breath, I will do that. I will continue to do that.
Why do you have such a strong determination towards doing things for others like that? Was it because you were brought up in a very special way? Or your childhood, or you have some kind of influence from your parents?
Definitely, my mom influenced, not really my mom, but the story, the life of my mom influenced me a lot. Because when my mom was a kid in Italy, there was the war, the Second World War. So Italy was a devastated country. So people living in extreme conditions. And my mother's family was particularly poor. So there were days where they didn't have nothing to eat. Just nothing to eat. They had no electricity. They had no father, because the father died when my mom was 5 years old, and she was the oldest of 4 children. But my mom, she has always helped. She has always had compassion to help the others. Of course, my family is not a rich family, so my mom could not do much in terms of financial support. But for example, she volunteered a lot in some local organizations. Still now, she's 82 and she still goes to the house of elderly people to help the some old people to eat.
Prior to the project in Da Nang, My Vision started similar support schemes in the provinces of Sóc Trăng and Gia Lai. In Sóc Trăng province, from 2015 to 2016, My Vision built 9 new houses for families living in wooden huts without running water and toilets. Bought 2 cows and 200 chickens for 3 families. Supported 18 families with children through a monthly financial support to help them cope with daily expenses. And financed a heart surgery for a father of 2 children. Since 2017, in Gia Lai province, My Vision has built 10 new houses for 10 families with children, distributed milk to about 300 children every week, purchased clothes and shoes for 120 children, distributed soap for families of 2 villages every quarter. This project is now still ongoing.
How did you know about Sóc Trăng and about those 22 families in need to provide support?
At that time, I was in touch with a lady working in Ho Chi Minh City running a center for deaf children. One day there was a kid coming from this village, Tan Long, because she's a deaf kid. Basically, this child had no father. She was living with her mom and 2 younger brothers, 1 older sister, very, very, very poor. And the older sister at the time, aged 12, she was raped and killed.
Wow.
This story really touched my heart. After a few months, I organized a trip with some Vietnamese friends. And I was not only shocked by the life conditions of this family, but also by life conditions of the village, because many families, they were living in huts. And in this place, I met Hip. Hip is one of my dearest friends in Vietnam, and she's also very dedicated to the poor. And she took me around the village to visit many houses, many families. Together we identified 22 families to help and which way to help.
From that initial project in Sóc Trăng, and then what next?
My friend Hip, she moved from Sóc Trăng to the Gia Lai province, and she told me, oh, this place is even poorer than Sóc Trăng. There are many ethnic minorities of the Gia Lai, mainly the Gia Lai people. Since 2016, we started helping set up a project to help people living in that area, and we are still helping. Sometimes when, for example, there are people who are sick and they need to go to Ho Chi Minh City to be treated, we cover the travel expenses, and we also buy soap and detergents for 2 villages. Because, you know, in that place, my friend Hip, she has to go to, she usually goes to the village to explain the villages, to explain those people why and how they have to wash the clothes or to brush the teeth.
Angelo always has a burning desire to help as many people with difficulties as possible. Whenever he hears about a poor area or people in need, he always visits in person to find out. While carrying out the project in Hoa Bắc, Angelo still visits and makes plans for supporting 2 poor villages in Đông Giang district, Quảng Nam province. Most villagers are Cơ-tu ethnic people. The village still has ramshackle houses built with simple materials. Angelo intends to start his projects here in 2020.
We plan to buy clothes and shoes for the children, some blankets for the winter time. Then we have a budget to help people who need to go in hospital, because this place is very far from the main cities, so very far from the hospitals. And we also plan to help the children by providing them with a regular 3 times a week or even more regular meal, because they are undernourished.
So there are many cases of people in need and disadvantaged children. based on what criteria do you choose to provide your funding, to provide your support to certain cases?
The criteria are people, families with children, young children. In a family, there are children with disabilities. Okay, they have a higher priority. And then we base our criteria is always the poorest. So we see the life conditions, and that's why we go to visit every single family, and that's why we collect any type of information about their family or about the village where they live, because we help the poorest. And then, of course, if there are children who are in need of, who suffer from serious diseases, they have the highest priority.
Now I want to ask you about the future of my vision. How do you envision what to do next in the future?
Well, first of all, I take the opportunity to say that I hope that in the future there will be more and more people willing to support us, because we are still a small organization, and in my mind I would like to do 1 million times more than what we did so far, because the need out there is huge. In my vision, we will always give priority to health, education, and housing. One day, if I could, I would like also to open like a small hospital in rural areas, because every time they're sick, they have to go really far,
Right.
and it takes so long because the roads are not good. But again, to do all that, you need funds. In those areas, to build a decent house, a decent 2-bedroom house, it only costs $2,500 average. Okay. So it's not a huge effort, isn't it? So, I mean, for many people around the world, it's not really a huge effort. Or, for example, providing a scholarship to a primary or secondary school kid with $20 per month, it's a big help for a family. Maybe in Italy or in Belgium, with $20, you can just have a pizza.
Yeah.
Angelo always chooses a simple lifestyle. This is reflected through the reason why he chose Da Nang as his new hometown. He said this city is not too bustling and crowded, which suits his personality. Apart from daily life expenses, Angelo spends most of his income on funding My Vision. Since he was a teenager, Angelo has always desired to help people in need. He used to volunteer in Africa, but he said he can only feel happy and satisfied in life and in My Vision's projects in Vietnam. The friendliness of Vietnamese people makes Angelo feel he has become a part of this country. Linh Ứng Pagoda is Angelo's favorite place in Da Nang. Each time he takes a walk here, he can find peace and tranquility in his mind. Although he's not a Buddhist follower, Angelo favors the conception of compassion in Buddhist principles. Therefore, Angelo does not consider his work as charity. It simply results from his aspirations towards sharing the burdens and pains of people who live with him on earth.
How's your life in Da Nang?
Very simple. I'm a very simple person. Right now, I don't need much. I'm already happy because I am doing what I wanted to do. There is a metaphor I like to sometimes to say. So life is like a river. The flow of life is like the flow of a river. And a long time ago, I was like outside of the river and watching the river go through. Then at a certain moment, I dived into the river, and I was diving with the river, meaning that I was living my life more actively. But now I feel like I'm one of the drops of the water of the river. I'm the river. So now I'm one thing with the flow of life. It's a strange feeling. It's a beautiful feeling because I love so much this country that usually I say when people ask me, do you like Vietnam? I say, no, I don't like Vietnam. I love Vietnam.
Can you speak Vietnamese?
Yes, I can.
Maybe can you say something to the audience here?
Okay. Tôi rất vui sống ở đây. Kể từ tôi sang Việt Nam, tôi cảm thấy rất vui. Tôi cảm thấy nước này là nhà của tôi. Và chắc chắn tôi sẽ tiếp tục sống ở đây và làm việc ở đây.
Well, that's perfect, Angelo. Thank you very much.
It's okay.
I really appreciate one thing you said is that you don't like the word charity.
No.
Can you explain more about that?
I think the word charity is a wrong word. At least that's my opinion. It makes me thinking of, I give you something. I give you, usually you do, when you do charity, you give a little bit of what you have and you give it away. You give it to somebody who needs it. And many times, I'm sorry, but I have to say that many people feel relieved that they did. It's like they feel, okay, I did something. I did something.
Right.
But actually, sharing is something else. Sharing is really like there is the concept of compassion in the Buddhism. I belong to no religion, but there are many things in the Buddhism which I like. But the concept of compassion, so which really means feeling that we belong to the same family. We belong to the same entity, to the same creature, which is the planet Earth. So we should share.
So what have you shared to the peoples in need, and what have they shared in return to you?
Well, I've shared my time, my knowledge, my money, everything I can share, I do. What they have shared with me, maybe they are not aware, but thanks to them, okay, I learned more about human beings, about suffering, about compassion, about myself, my mission in this world, how we should live. So thanks to them, it's like my mind reached a higher level of consciousness. And now my vision of the world, my vision of also the daily life is different, because now for me, nothing is so important anymore. What is important is trying to help people, trying to give people, because I believe that we are in this world to love, to give, to share, to enjoy in this way. And this is the best way to enjoy. And this is the best, the most efficient way to live, according to me, sharing. If one day, one of those kids I'm helping, and thanks to my vision's help, they go to university, and there is one child who becomes a great doctor, and he finds the way to cure the cancer. Imagine how many children, they cannot go to school, they cannot go to university. But imagine if all those children, they could go to university, they could access education. In this world, we would have a level of knowledge much, much higher, and everyone would have better life conditions. So it's very simple.
Yeah. And is there anything else you want to share?
This is an opportunity for me to publicly say a big thank you to Vietnam as a country, to say thank you to all people that helped me with my vision, not only my friends, but also my volunteers, but also the local authorities or the national authorities. I'm very happy that VTV4 invited me to talk Vietnam, and I'm very proud, but I want to highlight that I'm not happy for myself. My person is not important. I'm just a little drop in the river, okay, like all of us. But it's important for my vision, for what we do, for the purpose why my vision exists. And I really hope that thanks to VTV4, thanks to Talk Vietnam, as from today, more people get to know about us, about our projects, and maybe will support us. But only one thing is important for me, to help as many people as possible. And this is the only purpose of my vision. Sometimes there are people, also my close friends, and they say, "Oh, you're doing great things, very good, Angelo, you're so great." And I say, no, wait. Let's not make heroes. If you make heroes, you kind of like saying, "Oh, Angelo can do that because Angelo is a special person, he has special skills." No, Angelo has no special skills. I'm just like a normal person. But in this case, it's not like you need special skills or special talent. This is the message that has to go through. Everybody in different ways, in different measures, can do that, can support, can help. Everybody is not only just a few because they are special. No, not at all.
Thank you so much, Angelo, for your beautiful stories, and we wish you all the best for your future
you.
projects and also for My Visions.
Thank you.
Just as the name has signified the bright vision for the future of people in need in Vietnam, we hope that our audience also enjoyed the show. Thank you so much for watching and see you next time.